warm welcome and good evening, ladies and gentlemen, to our SIM CEO Dialogue 2021. This is the 10th edition of the SIM CEO Dialogue, and this is a celebratory edition because it is being organized in conjunction with the 35 years of partnership between the Singapore Institute of Management, SIM, and the University of London, UOL. Today's topic, digitalization of the economy, what it takes to thrive in the new future of work, is a topic that is not unfamiliar to all of us. Even with the onset of the pandemic, we have seen the adoption of widespread digitalization across industries, across business spheres, across sectors, regardless of whether you are an MNC, you are an SME, or even a sole proprietorship, and not to mention even governments and state-linked corporations. Everyone is hopping onto the digitalization bandwagon. Just earlier this week, the SIM Learner and Advisory Career Center also organized a Career Inspire series on the topic digitalization to share with our students at SIM on what it takes to make the first bold step, make the first right step to succeed in this new digital economy. Tonight, we are taking that one step further. We will be having a sterling panel of successful and established industry professionals that will tell us a little bit more insights on how we can, all of us, approach this new digital economy, the new mode of digitalization with confidence and aplomb. But what's more special is that tonight, those that are speaking are none other than from our very own graduates from SIM. And to top it off, we also have featured for the first time in the history of the SIM CEO Dialogue an all-female industry panel. This is, of course, in line with the Singapore's year of 2021 being designated as the year of celebrating Singapore women. Without further ado, may I take this opportunity to now warmly welcome and bring on our esteemed panel for this evening. From left to right, starting with Ms. Caroline Fong, Chief Investor Relations and Capital Markets Officer from Manulife US REIT. Caroline graduated from SIM UOL in 2001. Next to her, Ms. Jackie Yan. Jackie is Managing Partner of Trust Chains Partner Private Limited amongst many other holding companies, and she graduated proudly also from SIM UOL in 2005. We also have Ms. Juliet Chan Tay, Managing Director, Pivotal Business Solutions, and Juliet graduated from SIM UOL in 2009. And our resident panelist is none other than our President and Chief Executive Officer for SIM Group Limited, Mrs. Seah Chin Siong. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this panel. I'm Kong Soon, the SIM Alumni Engagement Manager, and also your humble moderator and host for this evening. So, we are coming to you live, all right, from this event, regardless of whether you're in Europe, regardless whether you're in Greater China or ASEAN, all right? You can catch us not only on Zoom, but also on YouTube and LinkedIn. That is also where we will welcome members of the audiences tuning in to post your questions that you may have along the way in this evening to our panelists, and the production team will pick up the questions for me to post them on your behalf to our panel. Right, to get things started, maybe we would want to go to our panelists first, all right? So perhaps just to warm things up, could we ask our three alumni panelists, right? If you could look back at your SIM UOL education journey, how has it kind of helped you kickstart, your career and to where you have climbed to today? So I'm taking you back in time to see, to reflect on, when you were at SIM UOL, did you ever imagine that you would be sitting here right now today, sharing gems of wisdom with everyone here? What made it for you along the way? Who helped you made it along the way? And so on and so forth.
I would like to share first.
Jackie, please.
All right. Okay, this is a very good question because it's about more than 10 years ago. I I didn't realize I have already graduated from SM for more than 15 years. Oh my God. Uh, I would like to share my experience with SIM. Maybe you cannot see the picture here. Maybe you cannot see the picture clear, but I would like to say this is a photo of me and my accounting teacher from SIM. His name is Mr. Yu Sui. He was one of the pioneer accountant of Singapore. He is the one to inspire me to start accounting career. He was a very famous accountant. He has own a CPA firm in Singapore. I would say he is the most important people for me during my study in SIM. So he's not only teach me how to do the debit credit transactions, double entries. He is also my life mentor to seek my career path during the journey.
Thank you, Jackie. Juliet, would you like to go next?
Yeah, so I studied in SIM Accounting and Finance, and I took that course because it had a structured pathway with CPA Australia. So back then, as a student, did I imagine I would be sitting here today? I think the very honest answer is no. But I did work very hard, to eventually get my CPA Australia and also my CA Singapore today. And because of how grateful for the education I've received from SIM and also University of London, I actually also helped establish the alumni of University of London in Singapore. And I've been with alumni for 10 years now. So, and in doing that, I'm hoping I can encourage, more people who are from the same university, to come together, and share experiences.
Thank you, Juliet. What about Caroline?
Hi everyone. Good evening, and thanks for taking time to be with us. And definitely, I think I never thought of this question at all. Having graduated for like decades, right? Since I'm one of the oldest alumni on a panel. But as I look at the question, it's quite interesting because I think the key takeaway that I had during my uni days was I've never studied so hard in my entire life. And I actually felt quite cheated because it's supposed to be an external degree, right? Then you're supposed to be like playing and like studying and doing everything together in life. But that was not the case. And I remember when Sylvia first told us that for the first year econs, 40% were actually flung. I didn't believe her. And I was under the UOL LSE program. Of course, I didn't know that they really matched it to LSE. So because I realized that it's so difficult, I studied like crazy. I studied like so hard, and it kind of instilled discipline in me because failure was not an option. I mean, like external degree, right? Then still want to feel like it doesn't make a lot of sense, right? So you have to kind of like know how you want to achieve the end goal. And for me, it's to graduate, like, actually, not even about scoring well. And what happened is, I think throughout the entire studying and being very disciplined, having the right friends around really helped. But what developed even further is when you graduate, right? I mean, I think some of you would have realized, or maybe only I feel that way, is you have to prove yourself more than your friends who are from NUS, NTU. Now got a lot of universities lah. Last time only got two, right? I think. And then of course friends who came back from overseas, like the real UOL, the real LSE. You are actually like the second class citizen, or sometimes even third. So that actually kind of like changed my mindset, because when you go for interviews, when you have it in your CV, people look at you and think like, oh, you this one cannot make it, right? That's why I go for the, like the private schools. And that was the mindset like 20 years ago. And it was a big challenge. But what helped is, of course, like tweaking the CV a little bit, and also getting the interview. Because people don't really understand at that point in time, like what is SIM, UOL. They see LSE, then they just call you for interview. And the most important thing is to make an impression during the interview, because I think I learned it the hard way. When you put it like in a very plain vanilla form, right? It's very hard that people will see you out of your peers. So how it launched my career is with that kind of mindset, knowing that I always have to work harder than my peers. It actually pushes me to excel, and you kind of think differently because you're not given. Yeah, I mean, it's not like you're given. You have to think and how you can value add. Yeah, so that kind of changed my thinking a bit. Yeah.
Great, great. Thanks for sharing those, insights, Caroline. We want to turn our attention also to Mr. Sia. Right, Mr. Sia, SIM is definitely, one of the biggest and the most established university education provider in Singapore. Right. In fact, it is only third just behind NTU and NUS in terms of its graduate population, not only in Singapore, but the greater region. Could we tap your thoughts on, how far SIM has come, or rather, how further, does SIM want to bring itself forward, especially into this new digital economy, this new age of digitalization?
Thanks, Kong Soon. Let me start by saying I was really looking forward to meeting our alumni here, Caroline, Jackie, and Julia. It's people like you, right, that we see succeeding, that gives us a very strong purpose why SM should continue to improve and help students succeed in life. Back in Caroline's time, probably 2 or 3 universities. Now, you'll be pleased to know we have 11 university partners, which is quite a number. And I'm not sure you also know that we have professional development. Right? Professional development in the sense that we also, in fact, that's really the genesis of SIM. We started by training working adults to get degrees, to get diplomas, because many of them don't have a degree at that time. But they come to SIM, they get a diploma, for example, in HR management, and then they become HR professionals. So quite a number of HR professionals, if you ask them, really, they know SIM because they've studied SIM. We recognize, and I do empathize with what Caroline said. How do we get you guys back on the track, on the fast track? In a way, we create pathways for students who may have a different stage of development, whether academically or otherwise, as you progress through. And today, what we realize is when you look at how fast the world is changing, it's going to take you more than a degree. It's going to take. I'm sure you know that. I'm sure that when you interview your new graduates that come to your companies for to be interviewed, you're looking for more than just a degree. Because if you look at it, hey, everyone looks the same. And that's the critical factor to help our students, graduates to be more competitive. So we're creating industry modules for them to take on. And sorry, Caroline, if you study very hard, they're going to study industry modules. Modules that build skills straight into industry, whether it's advanced manufacturing, whether it's in accounting or what. We're going to equip them beyond academic knowledge, but with industry skills. And we're doing that right now. In fact, one of the programs we do is with Skills Future and the SG Rated Skills program for logistics for advanced manufacturing. We are offering programs that are highly designed from the industry side. The academic side, we have plentiful, right? We have got 11 universities, right? But what about the industry side? You know, Caroline, your area, if it's insurance, how do you get graduates really skilled up in insurance products, for example, fast, you know, or even really getting into some of the actuarials, or in your case, you have capital markets and so on. Or Juliet, your business solutions. How do you get graduates ready to hit the road running, so to speak? And therefore, the future of education, we believe, is going to be a blend of both. So whilst the academic degree does give you that intellectual, that the education side of it, the skill side of it needs to come in as well. And we believe this is not going to be a compromise. In fact, SIM, we have been at it for the last 2 years now to equip our students. And you heard Kong Sun mention there. And going forward, what we intend to do is to work with some of the leading firms in the world, because they are the one determining what skills are going to be in the future, right? You look at the biggest insurance firms in the world, you get the biggest technology firms in the world, you look at the leading innovative firms in the world. What skills are they looking for when they hire people? And how do we translate that into programs, modules that we can weave into the curriculum for students to pick them up? Imagine you interview a student. Instead of the usual, I give you my GCE A-level results, O-level results, and a degree, you have a full spectrum of job experience already. Whether it's with Amazon Web Services, whether it's with Shopee or whoever. Some of these are going to really stand out. And why? Because we want them to succeed. We want them to become like you without having to be disadvantaged, but be on equal footing when you leave. Not so much trying to compare university to university, but trying to compare skills profile that you're different from the rest of the other graduates. And that's what we're going for. That's what we have set ourselves as a way to go and to continue to create more successful alumni like yourselves. So I hope maybe that gives you a bit of that spiel, Kong Sun. Over back to you.
I think that's very exciting developments that SIM can look to in the next 50 years, right? This is the time now we want to bring the audience online with us as well. Now every year we have an audience poll to get the audience's feel and their pulse on the topic for the CEO dialogue. So audience, right, if you pay attention now to what's showing on your screen, all right, you would see 3 questions that we hope you could help us kindly with your inputs on, all right? First, how do you see, all right, whether your studies or careers being impacted by this behemoth called digitalization? Second, right, tell us, how do you feel about your future prospects in the digital economy? And also, tell us a little bit about, in preparing for the future of work, which of some of these skills do you feel that SIM and its 11 university partners, as Mr. Sia has outlined earlier, can equip you or have equipped you with, right? So audiences, right, whether you are in Singapore, ASEAN, Greater China, or in Europe, we invite you to log in your votes. Okay? So whilst you are doing that, all right, you can also see, okay, the live vote tally that is coming in, okay. Well, on our screen here, right, we see more than 70% that says that, right, your lives has been impacted positively by digitalization. Wonderful to hear that, right? Next, all right, we have about, you know, a split, you know, but generally I would say over 70% of you feel that, you know, your future prospects in the digital economy are quite okay, all right, although 45% are saying that very confident and you feel very promising about it. That's good to know. All right, 1/3 says that not so certain. Okay, and the final poll, right, in preparing you for the future of work, all right, a lot of you are telling us that, wow, SIM and our university partners have equipped you with the necessary digital competencies and skills, right? Almost 55% of you are telling us that. Another 50% is also telling us about, you know, wow, okay, book knowledge and theories, of course, right? We are a higher education provider. That's our business. So we have to deliver that to you. And also happy to see that, you know, soft skills and people skills are also what you have picked up on your education journey. Now, coming back to our alumni panelists, all right? Now this is the question. Are there so-called digital competencies or skill sets that you particularly look for, all right, if you are, you know, interviewing for new hires, or let's say if you are wishing to promote someone to the next level, you know, what kind of digital competencies or skill sets matter to you as, you know, you know, a business leader in that hiring capacity? So could we, you know, go back to the panelists on this and get, you know, your thoughts on this? You could feel free to quote some of the results from the poll, you know, if you need to.
Konsun, can you hear me? It's Carol.
Carol, yes, go ahead.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Because I wasn't sure if you could hear me. Yeah. I was just going to go ahead and share first, just because. I mean, I approach the question a bit differently, just because it really depends on which area you're studying and what your main core is. Because I don't think they have a digital degree, right? You're just saying like whatever they're studying, there's a part that's equipped them with the digitalization skill set. So it's interesting, like for my company, so we are actually not under the insurance side. So I am a real estate investment trust. So it's a real estate portion of Manulife. And this year, there were 2 thrusts for me to grow the company. One was on digitalization and one was on ESG. So, and these 2 skill sets are both that I don't have. And very quickly, putting together what I need, I hired 2 of them, one in each area. And the person that I needed for digitalization was really to, so I used to go on like roadshows overseas, meet with like fund managers, investors around the world, face-to-face meetings, engaging our analysts and media in Singapore. And once COVID struck, it was impossible. So the connection, the engagement was down to glitch. And very quickly, to me, I realized that digitalization is going to be big in order to continue to do well and excel. I actually tried to apply for digital course. And then I'm like, oh my goodness, like it's like a 2-month course and I'm too old to study. Unlike Juliet, who loves to study, I'm like, after I did my master's, I swear that was the last thing I would ever study in my life. And what I did was I decided that rather than spending 2 months or even a couple of like hours every week just to learn about it, I decided to hire someone. So the skill set that I needed, very specific to the role, was to launch our social media platform. LinkedIn, make my website more interactive, and think of ways to engage my community, which is the investment community. So my point is really, it's not really the skill set of which part of this digitalization, but in all that you're doing, right? I mean, this is for maybe those who have just graduated or are still studying. You need to also evolve with times and look at how you can portray yourself when you want to even get through the door. So I did it a bit differently, and my HR was shocked because I asked for a video CV. Because to me, right, it's like you want to impress me during COVID, I'm hiring you for a digital role, you show me what you have. So I told my HR, can you get the applicants to send in a video CV? My HR said that's never been done before in the history of Manulife. Not sure what will come through. I say, yeah, but don't keep on thinking just because it's never been done, it cannot be done, right? I mean, everyone is on like IG, Twitter, TikTok. Not so difficult, right? If you're thinking out of the box. So out of, I think, the dozen or so applicants, very interesting, even though I specifically asked for it, only half of them attach a video CV. So the other half is totally out lah, because to me it's like you cannot even match the brief, right? Yeah, but that kind of like let me have a view of who has a bit of like digitalization skill set, because it depends on what you're talking about, right? Are you talking about analytics? Are you talking about building the data? So what I wanted was someone who was willing to do something different. And when I interviewed those different candidates, right, each of them have different skill sets. And as much as mine was on the social media marketing comm side, I was looking for someone that was ready to evolve with me. It's a brand new role. I started with maybe hiring a fresh grad to someone with like 5 to 10 years of experience. I wanted to hire a fresh grad. Then I realized, but if I don't even know anything about digitalization, then I cannot, right? I need to hire someone with a bit of experience. Then we can learn along the way. So it was really being very forthcoming with the candidates, telling them what I want and hearing their views. Like, this is my company that we are going digitalization is the route to go. What do you think? What can you bring? What's your value add? Yeah, and I mean that itself is not a very, I would say, close-ended answer to your question. But my point is really, be bold, and you guys are younger, right? You're in the Google age. My time, we were in the pager age, right? Everything can be found. And it's no excuse that you cannot do a video CV. No way. It's just whether you bother and how much effort you want to put in. Yeah, and then anything else can be acquired as long as you want to. So I've learned so much just hiring my digital person since April. We have done videos, we have done every different thing on LinkedIn. It's still a journey, but it's been amazing lah. Yeah.
Thank you, Caroline. Would Jackie or Juliet also want to share a little bit from a perspective
Yeah,
as
sure.
hires?
I cannot hear you.
All right. So my turn to share.
Can you hear
Sorry,
me?
I can't hear you.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh
Can you hear me, Kusum?
Yes, Jackie, go ahead.
Okay. All right.
Is it just me?
I would like to share a real story. I was having an intern from University of Hong Kong. He's a very smart kid. I will still remember on the first day, I asked him to sort out some client information for me. It's a very big Excel spreadsheet. I asked him to, sorting client by their age and their company, all those things. And I was expect him to, spend maybe one day, one whole day to do a summarize, something like a chart or float to show the results. But the thing is, this smart kid, he write a program. He write a program by using of half an hour to do all the work I asked him to do. Can you imagine the whole day work? He used his technology, write a program, one sentence to do all the job. Crazy. So I would say nowadays our juniors, all those young people, they really different from my generation. Maybe different from Carol, Julia. They really well educated from this computer science. For me, I would say my computer knowledge is how to restart my computer, but it's okay. but it's okay. I still deal with all those high technology industry clients, no problem, because we are a service provider. We have our own strengths and knowledge in like finance, management, consultancy, all those things. But I would say I would love to engage with those people with technology. I mean, cyber security, homeland security, all these different knowledge with me. Engage with them, you will see what is your shortcoming, and you will learn from them. Even they are much younger than you.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Jackie. Juliet?
If I can just add to what our both speakers have said, and what I think about digitalization is technology is a very double-edged sword. Some technology works and some don't. So to the alumni that are young and looking for work in the future, I think the important thing to remember here is this: is you should have the willingness to try new technology. Be it the latest software, be it a software that has been established a long time but has evolved. I say this from the perspective of accounting software. We were one of the first few firms who adopted Zero into one of the softwares that we used, and this was way back in 2013. And this is also way before they even have evolved to what they are today, for the accounting industry. But along the way, there were also many other softwares that upgraded themselves, like QuickBooks, right? I think that's a software that many people are very, very familiar with. So my point is this: is that technology it's something that comes with a willingness to learn, And so when I look at at CVs, right, as an employer, it's one thing to be knowledgeable in one software, but if you're unwilling to learn another software, then it's going to be difficult for you to move forward. So this is what I would add, to what the other two speakers have said.
Thank you, Juliet. Mr. Sia, we've heard quite a fair bit from our alumni from the industry. From the perspective of an education provider, do you see SIM providing the kinds of digital competencies or skill sets that our graduates of tomorrow and even our alumni who are already out there can benefit from?
Yeah, I think that's a very good. I think Caroline is have trouble hearing us. That maybe some technical fault there on Caroline's side. So maybe Desmond can help check with that.
Sure, we'll fix that on the back.
Okay, so yeah, what I would suggest, and what Carol, Jackie, Juliet says are all very true, very valid in today's context. What we can know for sure is digitalization is not going to slow down. It's going to go faster. And if you go to the other spectrum of digital, it's called AI, machine learning. And we know that machine today can actually do a very good job in a law firm already. When you go and look for cases, instead of paralegals going and do the research on legal cases for the precedents for the lawyers, AI can actually trawl through all the literature and it can give you even a better result than paralegal. What will happen to auditors? What will happen to financial analysts? What will happen to professional roles, job roles that require, I would say, repetitive mental processes? AI can actually replace that. What's the implication for our students? What's the implication for employers? Actually, what's the implication for companies? Is that sooner or later, companies, in fact, it's already happened. Companies are using technology to compete, right? They're using technology to compete. And if you're using people and they're using technology, then over time, guess who will win? So that's what Juliet says. We have to evolve. Our people got to evolve, but evolve to what and where? And what SIM we do is we keep a lookout for what's coming, what's emerging. not just specifically skills, but where we think industry is heading, where different industries, different companies are heading, what they are focusing on, and what skills are particularly emerging as high in demand in future. And to be able to take that and translate that into modules, which our students can learn way before they would have done if that they would normally learn that 5 years after they started working. But now we're going to bring them here. And two, they're going to complement the lecturers and tutors with industry experts, right? People who have been there, done it, to train them. And the whole idea is to get them to be able to go and work in a digital environment, right? So whether it's Xero, QuickBooks, whether it's Oracle or some really big ERP software, all the way to Amazon cloud architecture platforms, there's a whole spectrum of it. And to Jackie's point, I thought her example is very interesting because the young people will find ways to use technology to do the work. The smart guys will use technology to do work, and then they go and take a break. The rest of the colleagues are still sweating and do it. Now, that is agility, and that is what smart professionals do when they are digitally savvy. And therefore, I would encourage, even if the university doesn't give you everything, you should always look for opportunity to learn new digital technologies that can impact how you work. And in fact, what if you are good at it, will make you high in demand. And as I am in our continuous efforts to help our students to be more competitive, to be able to secure the best job they can find, is we will bring this from the industry and create a whole digital micro-credentialing for them. Micro-credential with some of the leading companies so that they get accredited and they get these experiences done. So yeah, I think it's a very exciting time, and I think the future is going to be exciting. The pandemic has accelerated digitalization. It's forced Carol to change the way she interviews, to force the way she actually does things in her real business, using LinkedIn and social media to do the job in a different way, and typically sometimes more efficient and more scalable. Okay, so I'm going to just pause here and pass it back to you, Kong Soon. I hope that kind of answers the question.
Thank you, Mr. Sia. Like I mentioned earlier, we welcome the audience to post your questions to us, whether be it on YouTube, LinkedIn, or on Zoom, so that we can attempt to address your queries. And right now, the production team has wants to flash this for you, to show you what you, the audience, around the region, around the world, has voted for us. Over 200 of you, all right, have voted, accordingly as such. All right. On the first question, about 75%, are feeling positively impacted. So that's good. That's good to hear. And the second question about your future prospects in the digital economy. Quite a number of you are looking at confident, promising, kind of a future ahead. And the last question, where we ask, which is a free option question, you could choose as many of the skill sets as you wanted to. All right. We see quite a fair bit that you are literally quite up to date already with your digital competencies. So I think that tells us quite a fair bit that at least half of our audiences inside this live audience definitely are, the millennials and the post-millennials. All right. Now, whilst we're waiting for your questions to come in, I want to take this back to the panelists again. With this onslaught of digitalization and so on and so forth, quite surely you also need to keep and maintain, an industry relevant workforce under you. So what are some of the kind of upskilling or learning or training programs that you actually would recommend or mandate your staff to do, so that they still keep their edge for your business in your line of work? Anyone would like to perhaps go first? What kinds of training or upskilling programs have you actually put in place or intend to put up for your staff under you to make sure that they continue to stay relevant in this new digital economy, in this new age of digitalization?
Hello, can you hear me?
Right, Carol? Yes, you are loud and clear. Go on.
Oh, sorry, yeah, because actually I lost all of you just now for quite a while. So I couldn't hear a huge part of what you all were saying, but it's okay. So I
Welcome to
better
the
speak
digital
now.
world.
Yeah, so I better speak now when I can. Something I've learned.
Please.
Okay. Yeah. I think for me, just because of in my nature of work, what I'm doing is investor relations, which is actually engaging investors, analysts, and media, and also more capital market. So it's like making sure, like, each time we expand the business, we buy something, we can get the money, we can raise the funds. What I've done is I have sent my teammates for data mining, data analytics course. Just because, as usual, right, I don't know, right? So whatever I don't know, I try to send my team there, then they can teach me, right? So because there's only so much time I have, and I have quite a big portfolio. So by sending them for that, it's not just so we used to do things like you just look at Excel, you churn out the data, then you have all these numbers, you know who your investors are, but it doesn't tell you anything. So I think with how the world has evolved, data analytics, mining, you're supposed to now use the data and make use of it in a meaningful manner. So even say launching our LinkedIn. We actually literally just launched our LinkedIn in September. Yeah. And so I'm a beginner in a sense that, I've not done any corporate LinkedIn account before. I reactivated my LinkedIn 2 years ago only because I realized, like, it's a revival. Because last time you only go to LinkedIn when you want to apply for a job, right? Or you want headhunters to call you. But then I realized things were changing 2 years ago or so. So I reactivated my LinkedIn just to post things on my company and updates and all. And when we just launched our LinkedIn in September, it was very painful because in a very big organization, there's 1 million red tapes. We also had to look at how to increase our following, how to get engagement, what are the paid advertising you can get, and also do you always want to show a video? Does a poll work? How do you actually engage? And my mandate to my team is always, please don't just do things because it's been done the same way in the last 5 years. I mean, I used to joke, right? Like policemen used to wear shorts last time. So please, like you have to think ahead. So we recently also had like very big conferences, like for example, like this thing that you are doing, like Kong Soon. We also have big conferences that we do to engage our investors. And for me, it's like I don't want to just do like a normal Zoom, because actually I really really hate Zoom. I got out of the Zoom quite some time ago, and I tried to like not go on it. We actually started our physical meetings and all in my company and all, if we can. And what I did was, even in a very big conference, we played games, we engaged them, we did polls. So my mandate to them is like make the event as fun as possible. I don't want people to be, because like all of you who are in this conference, right? Your camera is not on. So some of you may be in bed, may not even be listening, will be out. But how do I engage you? So my thinking is always like, look at what someone else is doing and then copy it, but do it much better. So don't need to reinvent the wheels. Just make sure that you have that in you. So whatever skill sets that you want to sign up for, right, should help you bring out the best in your role. So it's not just kind of like blaming, like, oh, I can't meet anyone now, right? Because it's COVID. I can't have big conferences. I can't have big meetings. Then, like, is it my fault, right? Like, I'm sure for the schools it's the same, right? You can't have maybe the big things like what do you have, like drives, open house, to get corporates to come. But we just have to keep on thinking differently. So if there's anything, if you ask me, right, aside from the digitalization, what kind of skills set that people need to have, right? They need to have this survival skill in them. And I don't know which school teaches them. And I feel that SIM will have a very good role to play because um, I mean in all schools, I mean I don't know, right? Because I stopped going to school for so long. I haven't seen that come across the 100 plus of people that I've interviewed and you know, like people who has worked for me. It's very like old school. This is how things have been done, and they have got a bit of more skills, which is very good, which is representative of what will be useful in the skills of the role that they're applying for. But some things like EQ, I don't know. Some books say that EQ can be trained. I think that's something that, if you ask me, should be mandatory in all universities, because I've met so many that doesn't have it, and it's very sad because you would think that people sometimes have common sense, and I mean it's nobody's fault because it's nurture and nature that forms us to who we are. But if there's something that I think if the schools can, as an upskill, even in the whole Singapore itself, I always feel like the soft skills are what will make you different, because no one can take that away from you. Someone can replace your skill set by going for some digital AI coding or whatever course, but your attitude, your soft skills, no one can take that away from you. And that's usually what I look for when I interview candidates. Yeah. Sorry, may not be
Thank
answering
you,
your question.
Caroline. No, you did. You have answered that. Yeah. How about Jackie and Juliet, from your perspectives as SME owners?
Julia, you want to go first or?
Yeah, okay. I don't really have much to add to what Caroline has said, except that I think one of the things that I did make my staff do was actually to test run a few softwares that I need. For example, one of the things that it's important to my business is the generation of forms so that we collect relevant data that we need, and then to make them into contracts or resolutions or business stuff. And so there's so many softwares out there, right? And I think there are one of the things that I feel about that is we have come across some stuff that are very resistant, like to them, oh, new technology, too difficult, try new software again, or like, why is my boss making me look at something new and then compare the price and then compare, what they can do or what they can't do. I think the only way forward really in this industry is is to just have the courage to try. Yeah.
Thank
Because
you,
things
Juliet.
are just going to keep changing.
Absolutely, absolutely. Right, Jackie.
All right. Both of them, wow, say very good things. Now I know how Carol hold such a high place in manual life. She really got a high level of EQ. All right. I would say I'm dealing with a lot of clients. They are very famous in technology industry. I would say something like blockchain. Very hot topic currently. Blockchain, cryptocurrency, fintech, uh, cyber security. I'm dealing with those clients, but I'm not IT savvy. I understand. I understand the business logic they are holding, but I totally don't understand the technology. Even they love to share their technology with me many times. I still don't get it. But it's okay. They never blame me because they never force me to become like someone else like them. They never force me to do that, and I don't have to be. So just like Carol said, I think the attitude and the way how you adopt the technology is the most important things. I would like to say something to those people. They feel really anxious about technology, really anxious about their future. I feel that you don't have to be anxious because you are yourself. You are unique. You are not Elon Musk, and you don't have to be Elon Musk. Even those technology people, they have we have millions of technology talents. Not everyone just like Elon Musk. Although today, the boss of Binance, he become the richest guy in Chinese world, he is the top, but not everyone like him. What we can do is play our part, do our job, be professional, not only in your industry. You can, learn something different from your industry. You don't have to be the best to be the one to be the one who can bridge two different industry or two different group of people. Just like me, I think my strength is I quite I quite skilled at being a bridge. I can be a bridge between Israeli and Chinese. I can be a bridge between Singaporean and European. So I always open mind, always love to learn, always willing to listen. This is even more important than my tech knowledge. I know how to restart my computer. I don't have to know. Even I don't know how to restart my computer. They still will work with me, and it's not no problem.
Thank you, Jackie. Right? We want to ask Mr. Xia also that I know, having heard from our alumni panelists, what kind of upskilling courses or programs does SIM actually have that we can offer to enterprises and businesses like those that our alumni are running, and how so that their staff, their workforce can benefit and come out better out of it?
Yeah, thanks, Gong Sun, for that question. I think our panelists, when I reflect on the responses, obviously they're quite varied. There are always two perspectives to look at it. One is from the organization's perspective, the employer, and the other is from the employee, the individual's perspective. Or for that matter, students who's going to join the workforce in future. What's their perspective? What kind of skills do I need to equip myself so that I can have the best way of progressing in my career? And the answer may not be that straightforward. It depends. But by and large, what I'm seeing is soft skills is important because ultimately you're going to deal with people. Right? It's people who hire you. It's people who buy from you. It's people who decide to give you money to invest. It's people, right? To collaborate with you, to partner with you, to do a joint venture with you. So what soft skills should we pick up? What soft skills should we develop? Whether it's emotional, EQ skills, the ability to relate with people, skills that deal with being resilient, growth mindset, do not be afraid of failure. You fall, get up, walk again. These skills make up the foundation for someone who's successful. In fact, let me put this straight, right? If you think of the most successful people in the world, do you care whether they know Python programming? Do you care whether they know Zero? Do you care they know, I don't know, cloud technology? You say things that relates to soft skills. So that's one. But then you still have to work in an industry, right? And in today's world, companies are competing against each other. They're trying to win market share. They're trying to win customers. They're trying to differentiate themselves from the competition. At the end of the day, it's the people who make the difference. What kind of talent you have in the organization. And the speed at which you respond to the market. So functional skills like design thinking, the ability to solve customer problems from the customer's angle and work backward to your products and services. Not, I got products, who will I sell to, right? Solving the job of the customer. Agile, being able to work as a team, because most of the time, the problems nowadays are not solved by one person. It's actually a team. And they will work together, put their brains together and see from the different angles, different disciplines to deal with it. But how do you deal with it at speed and do it without disagreeing and fighting with each other? Agile. I think that the biggest challenge I see today is how do we build skills in our people to handle complexities, where the answer is not so straightforward. That the answer you need to find is not so straightforward. There's no simple answers anymore, right? Your customer too, your customers also don't have simple problems anymore. The simple problems are solved already. But it's the complex ones, like how to grow market share, like how to come up with a new product, like how to create a new revenue stream, like how do you digitalize my business process to have productivity. These require skills, complexity. In in a way, we kind of call it a dash framework, right? Design thinking, agile, systems thinking for complexity, hyper connectivity, hyper growth. It's a framework for equipping someone with these skills so that they can take on challenges, they can address their future in a very empowered way. Because, as Carol said, right, these skills, once you have it, no one can take it away. And you can go anywhere. You go to any company, you are likely to succeed and you're likely to perform at a very high level. And those skills are what I believe to be. Now, digital skills and technologies will continue to evolve. And I think this is something that is a matter of knowledge uh, versus know-how, okay, which is quite different. Know-how comes from experience, knowledge you can acquire, but how do you put it all together such that it becomes your company's competitive advantage? And SIM today, and our alumni during a time when they study probably doesn't have that, but in today's world, SIM is working with large companies, small and large, to develop, to custom design a whole curriculum for the people, for the employees. So if you look at most employees today, what do they do with the employees? The employees go to a catalog and says, I'm going to attend this course, some nice place, maybe in Sentosa, the next 3 days. Or I go for this 2 days conference. But when they come back, what happens? Nothing much. It's an employee benefit. Because to be able to align and make sure that whatever we're training with the people, the employees, ultimately result in business outcomes, this company, is you got to actually customize and tailor design the curriculum. Finance people, HR people, operations, marketing, how do you do it in a way that's consistent, that supports the business objectives and help with career growth for the people? That is where we are going into, and that's where we think is very crucial for learning, for lifelong learning going forward. So over to you, Council.
That's right. That's right. Following up on what Mr. Xia has outlined earlier, I'm also pleased to announce here to all our alumni participants this evening that, in the new year 2022, do watch out for some of these programs that Mr. Xia has mentioned, be it, the Dash Plus, Agile, all right, design thinking, courses that the SIM Alumni Engagement Office will be bringing to you and supporting you as part of your own professional development, or if you are interested, all right, to speak to us, all right, to train your workforce in your company, all right, please feel free to drop us a line. We are very, very happy, to extend, our programs to one and all. Okay, we go now right to some of the audience questions that's come in. So I'm going to bring on this question that has been put to the to our three alumna. I beg your pardon, our three alumna that been saying. What advice would you give to fresh graduates? I mean, this $1 million question. Every year we do this CEO dialogue, we get this top of the mind question. So yes, Carol, Jackie, Juliet, help answer this question. Probably I can guess that comes from our student participants in the midst this evening.
Maybe I can go first. Yeah, I think there's two things that first of all, for all fresh grads, one tip is your attitude. you only have about half an hour or 45 minutes in an interview if you get it. So in a digitalization world, if you ask me right now, be innovative. Out of the 1,000 CVs that a company will get, why should they look at you? And if you can do something different, prove something different, or just have a different CV that stands out, that helps. And so that's basically just getting your footing in. So like I mentioned, like the video CV, think about it. I mean, I haven't seen companies do it, but to me, it's like, why not, right? What's stopping you? And then the second thing is when you go for the interview, right, it's also a big tip because I have been interviewing so many people. Please look at your interviewer, whether they are like a local or, like, I mean, just look at them in general, like their diversity and everything. Because in some of the interviewees I've interviewed from other schools, not SIM one, they come in and tell me like, oh, their goals and their ambition, how they want to change my company for me. In 5 years' time, they want to be like C-suite level. Like after 10 minutes, I tell them, thank you very much. Because first of all, you have not earned your stripes. So please don't tell me you can help my company be better. Unless you're like Elon Musk, like what Jackie said, right? Like that kind of caliber, you have a portfolio to show me, yes, please impress me. But otherwise, if you have nothing to offer, offer your diligence, offer your attitude, offer your projects that you have done. And I feel like a lot of young people always fail this question when I ask them, tell me your proudest moment. What have you done that made you really proud, or your biggest achievement to date? Doesn't have to be about school or about work, just about your life. And most of the time people can't answer it. And why I ask that question is because you take pride in your life. You actually have moments that you hold on to, and that kind of like tells me a bit of like your character lah. So those are some of the tips. So for example, I mean, like just to sum it up, right? If you come for interview, like if it's me, you see this kind of face, like I will smile with you, I'll be very polite. Don't try to over impress me. Listen to what I ask you first and try and like suss me out within the next 5-10 minutes. Then you will know whether what kind of answers you should give. Don't give the standard answer to all your interviewers. That's horrible. Everyone is different, right? Don't tell me the same thing you tell Jackie that you tell Juliet, because they may like what they hear. I don't, right? So try to read them a little bit, try to listen, and try to kind of like feel what you want to say in your mind first. But just remember that honestly, I always feel I should be paying, intern should be paying me or the fresh grad should be paying me, because I'm going to be kind of like teaching you and coaching you. So if they have the right attitude, and if you have shown that throughout your life, you have worked during your school holidays, you have done something, and never say like, oh, how come you cannot find a job for the last 12 months? Then you say, oh, COVID law. I'm like, thank you very much, bye-bye. Because there's other things you can do, right? Just try something, right? Go and be a safety ambassador, go and do a grad. Just do something, because that shows me that you're a doer, you're a thinker, you're not the one that when the world collapses, you blame it on someone else but yourself. Yeah.
Thank you, Carol, for that. Jackie or Juliet, you want to jump in and say something too?
I'm always looking for those people with a resourceful mind. I don't know how to say. I expect my staff to, solve the problem by themselves. Just like I ask them a question, someone will ask me back. Someone will go and find a resolution, or someone will go and find a better way to solve the problem. Being resourceful is a precious character. People, they are different. Just like me different from Carol different from Julia. But always be positive and don't throw the problem back to your boss or your colleagues. Just like that, simple like that.
Thank you, Jackie.
I think I will just cover some of the questions that, I can see that some participants are asking about traditional degrees and if they are still valuable. And if it's even, can it be replaced by stackable skills? I think it really depends on the industry that you want to be in. I think it's important that you have enough academic and technical knowledge, for what you want to doing your work. I mean, back to my example, you can't be an accountant if you can't do your debit and credit, right? So you do absolutely need to have the basic requirements, you know, and you can achieve these requirements by going to school, right? And then I think the important thing, which I also stressed much earlier in my conversation with you, is that you have to keep yourself, you must try the new technology that's coming in, the new softwares. And if you need a certificate in, say, for example, in a specific software, do it, you know. And I think that's what I can say would be your best approach, you know, in terms of, you know, about your qualifications. Yeah.
Thank you. I want to maybe collate two questions that perhaps Mr. Sia can take. Someone in the audience did also ask about micro credentials that SIM has come up with for its students and eventually to its alumni. Does SIM see itself offering the micro credentials program to the public? And secondly, would having a CCA make a fresh graduate a bit more appealing or more hireable than someone who has just got straight A's and cum laude?
Very good question. Sometimes you all have to maybe wonder, you know, when you get hired at that time, was it because of CCA or is it because of your academic results? I'll answer the second question first. CCA actually tells you what the person is passionate about. In fact, it tells you a lot more about the individual versus academic grades. Academic grades, yeah, you know, if you are good, you study hard, maybe some are exam smart, you know. A straight A student doesn't differentiate from another straight A student. A straight B student doesn't differentiate from another straight B student until, as Carol would say, you interview the person or you look at what his CCA is. I believe I got my first job with Arthur Anderson because I took part in the national triathlon. The guy's thinking, oh, this guy is not a bookworm, lah. You know, he actually has a life. He knows how to do that, right? Well, maybe my interviewer was also a triathlete, so say, hey, you know, looks like we're the same, you know. But it does tells you something, you know, what your passion is, and the nature of the CCA, especially if it tells you about the character building, perseverance, you know, taking on challenges. You know, you go on somewhere, you know, it does tell you something more about the individual, and it gives you more to talk about, to share with your interviewer, which makes you stand out, which makes you different from everybody else. Otherwise, Carol will say another one again, you know, same one, you know, same mold, you know, you kind of stamp on it and it comes out again. Everyone looks the same. What I encourage is, you know, young students today, fresh graduates, look at yourself and ask yourself what's different and unique about yourself. What are you really strong at? It's not trying to be better than everyone else. You know, it's about how uniquely different and how you can value add to the organization with your strengths. Now, I would say, by and large, students need some coaching. Okay, so hopefully, you know, I hope Carol can come back to SIM and coach our students one day. You know, they really need to, because they need people like Juliet and Jackie also to come and say, now you travel 9 years into the future, come and tell us what is it like, right? I don't want to go there and then make mistakes as well. I want to learn from you, and so we create that. We have coaches for our students today. How do you navigate? Because the world is much more complex too. On the questions of micro credentials are the alternative to degrees. Let's just say, for example, you miss by 1 grade, all right, and you cannot get into university. Then what? 2, let's just say you studied for a degree and you absolutely decided that you made the wrong choice. Then what? 3rd, employees are saying, hey, I need people who can do this. But how do I recognize them? Then what? So we have to do this to get into a micro credentials that's available for everyone. So the question is, for SIM students only? No, it's for everyone, because we believe that's what every PMET needs to have. And you're not competing with amongst yourself. You're also competing with the workforce in the region. All right. There are also graduates coming up in other parts of this world, and they're competing for the same job. What do you do, right? You have to differentiate, and you have to bring up micro credentials, and not just micro credentials, but micro credentials that are endorsed by the employers, have credibility. For example, if I were to do a micro credential with Hewlett Packard, or if I do a micro credential with IBM, or should I do a micro credential with SIA for customer service? It's quite different from something else, right? Then the employees now make a choice. What do you want? But today, most employers still look at a degree as a way to filter. But I think time will change, where they'll also look at other credentials, other skills. What do the students, where they come from, how are they equipped with skills that we know that make this person uniquely able to fit and contribute to my organization. So we think this space will go through disruption. It will continue to evolve. And if there's one thing we all know by now, Singapore's only asset is people, other than the strategic location of the island. And we have to do everything we can to make our people the best talent in the region, if not in the world, because that's how we're going to continue to get good jobs and work in organizations that are leading and so on. And that's what's going to continue. Over to you, Council.
Sure.
I
Thank
think
you,
I
Mr.
just
Sia.
want to add on. I mean, I totally agree with what Mr. Sia said about, do something different and get a degree. But if I may, right, in my first job that I worked, my boss once told me why he will only hire degree holders. I mean, the thinking could be wrong now, but I think it makes a lot of sense, because if you can complete a 3 to 4 years degree, even though you hate it, even though you struggled with it, but the fact that you completed it, it means that you're a finisher. You're not one that gives up halfway. Because now in this generation, people think like, oh, I don't like this, then I do this for 3 months, I study this, then every 6 months they change your course. And but the fact is, maybe you never find anything you like, right? I mean, that's life. I don't like what I was doing. I mean, I still studied through, but you finish it. And that kind of resonated with me until today, because not only that you are a finisher, whatever you started, you finish it, but also through your degree, you work with the same group of people, you get along with different groups doing your projects, your thinking process. And that itself is the reason why, even if you do a degree in art or drama or whatever lah, just finish it rather than acquiring many certificates. I'm a firm believer of on-the-job training lah. If you show me your certs, prove it to me that you're good lah, because some certs can be bought, right? And I'm a bit weird. I don't hire people with a GPA 5 marks one, or very high one. Anyone 4.5 above, right, or they score them well, I would say thank you very much. Because I mean, having interviewed a few people, I just think like the smartest are, I mean, I don't need someone smart, I mean, you're a fresh grad. How much more can you value add to my life? I need you to be eager to learn. You want to contribute. You want to be a team player, and you're willing to show that, you have what it takes in terms of attitude. So anyone with full marks, those kind of very hardly, actually, I think I rejected their CVs just because I mean, just it's a personal thing, right? It's a personal thing. So like, please still study hard, okay, but still study hard. But I just want to encourage those who are not there, who think that, you're just like borderline case. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. If you're a borderline case, it's even better, because you will work harder than the one that got full marks, and think differently how you can make a difference during that interview, which is why I say to all young people, even to like my nieces and nephew, holiday, just go and get a job lah, even in McDonald's, just do something with your life instead of like playing your phone or something. Because it all shows when you come for the interview and I ask you, what have you been doing? Then you say, nothing. So of course, if you have nothing, please at least have a CCA. And think like what Mr. Sia correctly say, it shows your personality and your character. If you excel in a certain sport, or you represent the school or the country, it talks about your discipline, right? You're super self-motivated, because I'm not. So like, yeah, when I see all this, I go like, wow, okay, this one got chance. Won't give up halfway one. Yeah. Yeah. Thanks, Hong.
Great, Carol. In response to your very candid sharing, we've got one question directed especially to you, asking about, what do you see, as in terms of the hiring trends or even the work dynamics, specifically to maybe in the area of investor relations, public relations, comms, in your area. Any thoughts on that?
Wow, favorite question. Okay, I think in line with what we are also sharing today about digitalization, if you want to go into this path, right, which is the PR for the comms, please be on top of what's happening in the media world lah. I mean, not like the celebrity media, right, but anything, right? I mean, from the social media, like what is metaverse? I mean, I just learned like last week what it was about, and I also don't like to learn new things actually, but I don't have a choice, right? Because I need to know what's happening. Show your interviewer or show yourself that you are on top of things, because cannot be you want to do comms then you don't know what's happening, right? Then you don't even have a LinkedIn account like my husband, right? Or you don't have a Facebook. Then how, right? Because it doesn't come across. And so whatever it is, right? But going back is I think what Lee Kuan Yew once said, our DNA is such that, yeah, we are given a deck of cards. Like I can never be a singer, right? I can never be a whoever. I'm good in I'm good with numbers. I can understand finance. I can never be an accountant. I mean, I could do it, but I'll be sulking. I'll be really sad every day. Like I like to meet people. I know where my skill sets are, and I be myself. So if you want to go into this role, then you look at what is trending in the world. What can you bring, and do you really like people? Because if you don't like people, it's quite funny because my first I actually hired one of my interns who stayed with me for quite long from SUSS. She's an introvert. So when she came for interview, she told me she want to do comms. She really like comms. So I said, okay, never mind, that time intern lah, I mean, I like to train people. Then after like half a year, 1 year, I said, how come you're so soft spoken? You want to do comms, you must talk very loud like me, Then she said, but I'm like that, very soft one. So I trained her, lor. I say, you have to you just have to shout, lor. Huh? But your shouting is still softer than me. And then I had to expose her differently and slowly. But so it's not like even your character may not be for comms. After a while, you will realize that to excel in comms, you need to have certain characteristics. And some of them can be built, some of them cannot. But to get through the door, make sure that you can at least sound legit and try, I think I have at least 25 jobs that I have tried in my life. Really, really. Like I've done everything that you can imagine in life. Don't be afraid to try. Don't be afraid to try. And I only kind of like figure out what I really was good at and what I wanted to do maybe about 5 to 8 years ago. Yeah. But I tried everything and I kind of know what I want and what I don't want. And that is very important. This is actually my longest staying job in my life, which is like 5 years plus. Yeah. So, when you're young and everything, go out, try, but be sensible. If you think that you're good in something, right, but you keep on getting scolded by your boss or you are fired, ask your friend or someone or even your boss, your mentor, are you really good in it? Because sometimes the truth is you're just not good in it, but you think you are, right? Have the person that you can be really honest to and who likes you enough to want to bring you through your career when you're young. Yeah, like a mentor lah. Yeah.
Right. Great. I think I got one question that possibly is directed at Mr. Sia. Our panelists have spoken quite a fair bit about, the importance of having soft skills, survival skills. I think this question probably came from a young alumni who says that data science, was said to be the skill of the future that we all need to have. So everybody has gone into data science and all of that now, but will that lead to too many, of us becoming junior data scientists and analysts? And if so, how could we avoid that? Or should there be other more specialist tech skills like AI, cybersecurity that we should be picking up? Mr. Sia, please.
Yeah, it's quite interesting because many years ago, there were a lot of people going to computer science, right? And then you need a lot of programmers, you need a lot of IT project managers, and Singapore produced a lot, thousands and thousands of them. and you thought it's going to be saturated. No, it still wasn't enough, because I think it's a growing industry. It's a growing domain. And there'll be more and more demand for such skills. Right now, only the biggest and the most richest companies can hire the best data scientists in the world. Google, for example. You cannot really compete with Google if you want to get the best data scientists in the world. But if you have the best data scientists in the world, you continue to dominate in the industry, because you really will develop some of the most leading edge technologies for the company, and that is how they continue to dominate. But the rest of the industry, many will continue to want to use data, and data, as I say, the new oil. Data is what's going to allow you to compete. And if you don't have data, you are just about like everyone else. So I don't think the world has gotten to a point anywhere near what it should be in terms of having data-driven business decisions. How companies should use data to make decisions, how to get data deliver insights and so on. It's not unlike what Facebook, Google, or any of those platform companies that uses your interaction data to then market to you, right? And that's how they become so big, right? These advertising dollars come, now that Carol is now part of LinkedIn, so she's now a part of the product of LinkedIn for advertisers, right? Depending on your profile, the data that you have, I can market anything to you. Now, do these skills have to be the monopoly of big companies? No, I think there's a lot of space for young data scientists, professionals to go, and the depth at which you can go is very far, which is all the way to artificial intelligence, robotics, and so on. That's going to use data big time. If you look at some of the inventions or innovations, it's only a few years already where a computer vision can predict an accident, I think 3 to 9 seconds before the accident actually happened, just by seeing how a car is driving on the road. A human can't even predict that, right? Because it happens. Now, who's going to develop those technology? How many data scientists are you going to need? It's going to be a lot, because it's going to be a lot of also specialization actually. But if you're not the kind who likes to play with data programming, then don't go there, because you won't enjoy it. But if you do like that, then I would say, work there and go and find the biggest companies to work for. You will really learn a lot. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Sia, for those thoughts. We probably have time for one final question, which is an amalgamation of what I've put together from our quality set of questions that's coming in to us from YouTube, Zoom, and LinkedIn, which is, I feel, also is a fitting question to end the evening on. Now, as the digital economy future unfolds, right, and as digitalization becomes part and parcel of not only our personal, social, but also professional lives, what do our panelists, all four of you, see that our fresh graduates of tomorrow, or even our alumni PMEs who are out there in the industry already, should approach this whole new future of work from this sense of work from home, work from anywhere, hybrid mode of working, and so on and so forth? Either the ladies or the gentlemen could go first. No preference.
It's always ladies first.
I think Carol is on mute. We can't quite hear Carol.
Oh, sorry. Can you hear me now?
We got you there. Yes. Go
Yeah,
ahead,
okay.
Carol.
No, I was just saying, like, just to sum up, I think I shared quite a bit, and I think doesn't matter how the world evolves, like, to me, my motto is change is the only constant. Keep changing, and whatever skill sets you want to upgrade yourself, for those who are really working, ask yourself, like, it has to be relevant to your job scope. if by going for this additional skills, additional software, additional whatever you are going to do, right, will make you a better performer, please do it, right? Don't wait for your boss to tell you, because otherwise then the younger people, like the ones who haven't graduated in this, will be taking over your role. And for those who are young and going out there, right, the same thing. If you think that you're interested in a finance role, you're interested in being in a accounting or whatever, find out what is happening in that realm and be at the forefront in this digital world, because things have changed. And do it to make sure that you're ahead of your peers, not because like you think, oh, I'm damn good, my CV damn solid already, do I need to do anything else? So whatever that you're focused on, and don't do 10,000 things, because end of the day, I think you can only be good in one or two things, and have something that you're proud to talk about. If you do a small little project or you sign up for a course, actually it's not the course that you sign up for. I always look at the passion when you tell me what you did, because if you are happy, you feel proud about what you have accomplished. I think it says a lot about your personality lah. Yeah, yeah.
Thank you, Carol.
I go first, Julia.
Yeah, please.
Nowadays, I wouldn't say my staff they are employees of me. I would say they more like my partners, because in my parents' generation, they are quite like a traditional way to do their work. They sitting beside their bosses or supervisors. They do the work together, side by side. They even have lunch every single day. But from this time, you see, COVID, we work from home. My team, my partners, they all work from home. Even my clients, my investors, they don't have chance to come into Singapore, or we don't have chance to go overseas for a business trip. So I would say in future, economy has already been digitalized and our life has already been changed. Never expect the old days come back. We have to move on. Youngest, their mindset different from us. They don't like someone else to treat them like workforce, treat them like you are my staff and do whatever I told you to do. They are more like innovative team player, a part of company. Don't tell them what to do. Tell them the direction. Tell them where we are going. Please go with me. So this is my opinion.
Thank you, Jackie.
I think the only thing that I can add to all of that is, I think with the future going forward with digitalization, information is so broad, and so it's kind of indefinite, right? And I think the important thing that we need to carry ourselves forward is definition. We need to define like what we are trying to achieve, what the objective is. And I think it's also very important that in this everything is technology today, even this Zoom meeting. It's very important to draw good boundaries, whether in how we deal with our work with our clients, or even how we fit in studying a new subject, for a new certificate. Yeah, these are things that you need to really consider to move forward.
Thank you,
I'll
Juliet.
just I'll just add on to our three distinguished panelists' comments by saying, one day, or sometimes, you're not going to get a job that you want, or you did your perfect job,
Yeah.
but you can do a good job out of it if you love it. Even though it's not a perfect job for it, if you love it, you will do a perfect job out of it, and that's how you grow, and that's how you be recognized. I think the worst is when you don't like a job, or it doesn't fit you, not liking a job is not going to make you a strong performer. But when you love it, you'll find ways to learn. you develop greater curiosity. So I may be soft-spoken. I don't like to speak loudly, but I love being a comms person. And guess what? I will pick up and excel in. And I think that's a quality how most of the young, the people who succeed, how they have been able to pivot to new career, new job is because they start by loving the job first. And then they will figure out along the way. That would be my parting shot. Thanks, God.
Wonderful, wonderful, Mr. Sia. Right. Well, indeed, this has been a very enriching evening. I think the privilege of having our very own alumni come back to speak and share your thoughts and your insights with us is really, that's this special, unique thing about the SIM CEO dialogue. Is really about wanting to hear from our very own who have walked the same path as all of you have and have made it out there, and to show us that all of us has got what it takes really, all right, to strive in the new future of work in the new digital economy, regardless of digitalization or otherwise. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in showing appreciation virtually, of course, again to our panelists. All right. Thank you for taking your time this evening, panelists as well as, the lovely 200 plus audiences. All right. Wherever you are from calling in, all right, on this day. On behalf of my production team here at the SIM Alumni Engagement Office, coming to you live from Clementi campus, we bid you, all right, a good end to the year and Merry Christmas in advance.
See you later.